All right,
Sorry.
cool. Good morning, everyone. It's great to be here and to share space with y'all today. Um, uh, Thank you, Lisa, for bringing us in. I would like to introduce myself. My name is Sayalangi. I am a librarian at the Salt Lake City Public Library here in Salt Lake. I'm the teen librarian and I work at the Glendale branch. And I'll go ahead and pass it over to Claire.
My name is Claire Doctorman. I am the teen librarian at the Anderson Foothill branch.
My name is Yole Pettis, and I'm a librarian at the Marmalade branch.
Excellent, thanks y'all. So we are gonna start off just with some introductions. So there's kind of a lot of us here today, but go ahead and type in the chat your name, where you work at, and the thing that will most likely interrupt you during this webinar. Some of us are at home, some of us are at work. Yeah, go ahead and throw that in the chat. Nice, thanks, Brittany. Brittany's cats. Katrina, hey Katrina, small kids. Angela from Wasatch County, welcome. Hey Lexi, yep, kids need their snacks. Stacy, welcome from Springville. Lee, Sia, Sherry. Hello, hello, Dana. Excellent. So as those keep going, coming in, we'll go ahead and just continue. I'll go ahead and pass this over to, let's see, Yoli.
So we have just some community agreements that we have added. If you have any other ideas, feel free to add those to the chat. So we'll just be passing the mic, one person speaking at a time, and we'll be not talking, and the rest. Oh, most importantly, during the Q&A is when everyone will have a chance to use reactions to raise your hand, so we can have a conversation then. But we'll just go through this presentation before that. And any questions you have, feel free to put them in the chat during our presentation, and Lisa will collect those and make sure we address those.
Awesome, thank you, Yoli. All right, so we're here to talk about building your team base. And probably the most important thing when one is thinking about building their team base is how you want to present yourself. So we created this slide of why would a team talk to you? Here are some points, you can take it or leave it, but this is something that we've come up with. So naturally as a teen librarian, you wanna dress cool and not too fancy. This guy pictured, I think he's dressing pretty cool, but maybe some teens might not approach him. So just be mindful in how you dress. I like to, I just really like anime. I really like to wear things that I'm already passionate about that I can talk about. And so a lot of my teens gravitate towards that. I love wearing Avatar: The Last Airbender t-shirts, Demon Slayer, they're very into that. And so that also just helps you to be approachable. The next thing is starting young and building a relationship with your teens. This is super important. A lot of the teens that I know now, I've met like in 5th or 6th grade, and or kind of in that tween stage. That's when a lot of the middle school students start coming over to the library. And building those relationships have been so important because as they grow, they know to come to you, and you're the pinpoint person. And so I think that's probably one of the biggest, most important things. Third is always say hi to the teens. A lot of times the teens will probably roll their eyes and be like, oh my gosh, why is this person talking to me? But don't get discouraged. Just always say hi, always have a welcoming attitude. You also want to have interactive activities that make you talk to a librarian. So a teen said, I would risk talking to someone to get a small prize. This is so true for my teens here at the Glendale branch. They're not only are they competitive, but they love to get little prizes. It's after school, so like getting some treats is always such a big thing for them. And so having some small incentives there will really help you out. When you interact with teens, you always want to be able to introduce yourself as the teen or the children's librarian, but most importantly, their librarian. They need to understand that and know that you're there for them. In terms of like keeping stuff on your desk, keep personal objects, kind of like dressing cool or too fancy. You want to do things that make you feel approachable and personable, and also keep your reference desk clean so you look like you're available. A lot of teens are intimidated. A lot of teens are shy. And so as a teen librarian, it's my job to be accessible and also to let them know that they have a resource within me. So those are some pointers, and we'll just go ahead and go to the next slide.
So these are some things that we added to our teen space at Marmalade. And it's kind of been a slow process, but we had so many adults that wanted to sit in the space. It's a really nice space on level 1. When you walk in, you just turn the corner and there it is. And so luckily we were able to get giant coloring pages printed out from our creative lab at the main library downtown. That was free for us since they already invested in that equipment. And then you can see some teens using the space, and above them, you'll see a poster that was also designed by a teen volunteer. And then on the next slide, you can see some other decorative elements no, actually this is an activity slide. This is our teen craft cart. And the cart, we kind of just had all of these crafts left over from prior to the pandemic. And I was like, I need to get these out there for teens to use. So we got some good containers, and it's actually working really well. I had it behind the circulation desk, but it's actually working. They're using it more when I put it out there in the teen space, and they don't have to ask for it. Same goes with coloring pencils and markers for the coloring pages. They don't ask for them even when I put a sign that said, like, ask a librarian for coloring utensils. So the best thing to do is just have everything out where they can have access to it. And then we started the Word of the Week at a few different branches at the city library, and it's just another way for us to interact with teens. I talked to some of our tweens that are in 5th or 6th grade, and they were like, I'll do this if you get us cool prizes. So they specifically said, I want Naruto stickers and the specific type of candy. And I was able to get it, and then they participated. But it's really fun to come up with the word, and I look forward to it every week. And that started, I believe that started our Dave Riverside branch or Glendale branch, but it's, we just love sharing these ideas. And then I think the next slide might have more decorative elements. Yes, so we had some awesome teen volunteers that helped us by creating posters or this sign, and it's just another way to let others know and also let teens know this is their space. The poster was designed on Canva, which anyone can use for free, but they do have like if you do pay, you can get more access to graphics and more fonts. And I'm hoping to do more. There's definitely more projects in the works at Marmalade. But that's what we have so far. And zines. Zines are another great way to have teens kind of engage with the space. So we have some these are all teen made. And And then this safe space sign was made by the volunteer who also designed one of the posters. And it's still there. It's chalkboard paper with chalkboard markers, and it's been up since last year. And I think it brightens up the space and we love it. And I think that's all I have. So I'll turn the time over to Claire.
So one thing that I found that is really helpful for the collection is involving teens in collection maintenance. This makes the collection community driven. And teens feel really, really empowered when they suggest a book and we talk about how collection development works. And when they see it on the shelf, the book that they wanted to read, and they can suggest it to others, they're just ecstatic. I would suggest making suggestions for purchase easier and not just digital. You can have them on physical paper, that's less intimidating, or just talking to your teens and making sure that they know that the collection is for them. And displays absolutely matter. They are a great conversation starter to what's in a library collection and why it is for teens. I've been involving my teens in updating teen nonfiction to do with health and going through our teen applicable mental health and physical health books. I found a lot of stuff like this Cosmo Girl About Your Body from 2006 that was still on our shelves. Cosmo Girl is a now defunct magazine that is a subsidiary of Cosmopolitan, and that was the only thing that we had for that subject. We can do better. So in replacing that with something that is more likely to be checked out by teens and more up to date, I had my teens look at possible replacements. We have, of course, in the children's book, the American Girl doll ones, and some of my teens said, that's a little too young for me. I want something that's more grown up and has more information. And so we have a teen appeal code. No teen would ever check this out, and it's possibly outdated. We found quite a few of those. My personal favorite was How to Cure Dyslexia Without Drugs, a now discredited book that makes me laugh. Then we also talked about basic collection importance, where maybe a book wouldn't check out a lot, but it is important to have that information. And talking to teens about making our collection up to date, accurate, and that they can check out adult books with teen appeal and what they like. This has been really fun and a great way to engage teens. And I will throw it back to Yoli or Saya.
Awesome, thank you, Claire. These next few slides, I'll just be talking about what we've been up to at the Glendale branch. So at the Glendale branch, we have a very heavy after school teen base. So we have anywhere from 30 to 50 kids coming in after school every day. And there's a lot of high energy that comes with that. And so we've had lots of problems of drawing on the walls. And so just to kind of, channel that into different areas, I just created a chalk wall. This cost me about $50 total. I got about 3 quarts of chalk paint from Home Depot, and then like 1 paint roller, and then of course some painter's tape that we already had at the branch. And this has been a great way for kids and teens to do more self-directed quiet time. Over in this corner here, we have like chalk mosaics. One time we talked about names and why that matters. We have the rose. We talked about your rose and your thorn of the day, so your highs and lows. And also just drawing your favorite, or who can draw the best dog. And someone drew a cat, so that was pretty hilarious. But yeah, and then also in the middle, we have the fist, just for solidarity for Black History Month as well. So all of these things can be all just self-directed, and it's a great way for teens just to get that dexterity, and for kids to get that writing dexterity. It's just a fun way to interact as well. Also at the Glendale branch, to kind of uh, curb the flow of energy with the kids and teens, is we do a monthly scavenger hunt. And the scavenger hunt is something that we switch around with librarians. This one that I'm showing you is from our children's librarian, Jordy Slade. And she wanted to do stuff that's spot the dog. And so I just took a couple of pictures of what that looked like. And again, these can be as simple as, or as complicated as you want. When it's usually my turn to do a scavenger hunt, since I work more with the teens, I try to make it more onto their level, a little bit more challenging. But the premise here is to keep them engaged. They can interact around the library, and also they get a fun treat. And the treat could be like a Starburst, or like a sucker or a Dum Dum. Yeah, it's a great way to also just create more relationships with the teens. So here we just have this set up. A lot of our patrons like to do a lot of brain teasers and puzzles. This is for the adults. The next slide we'll show you is for the kids and teens. But this is located right in the front of our entrance here at the branch. And what you see is what we got, right? So just word searches, scrambles, origami, scavenger hunts. This is where we keep the scavenger hunts. And then just extra coloring sheets. We have colored pencils and just regular pencils and crayons, if just up at the front desk as well. This has been super great. A lot of our adult patrons have been interested in this too. And also our teens who love to do more Sudoku and who would like more of those challenges can do that as well. And then this next slide here, this is our Kids Center. So kind of the same premise as the one from the previous slide. This one's located closer to the activity room where a lot of the kids and teens hang out. And we just have printed coloring pages, markers, colored pencils, crayons, word searches, anything to kind of get them excited. Knowing your branch is super important too, because a lot of our kids and teens love anime. And so we try to do, we print off coloring pages that reflect that. All right, and I'll pass this over to Claire. Thank you.
So one of our favorite things to do at the Salt Lake City Library that we do at all the branches is Teen Squad. In pre-COVID times, our teens would help pass out summer reading prizes to younger kids while learning job skills, like, scheduling and being friendly, and even how to be bored. After COVID, obviously that changed and it had to turn online and it had to change a lot. So we revamped Teen Squad with teens working with librarians online on individual or group projects. These group projects could be library related, like looking at the graphic novel section and help updating that. It could be making an interactive chart on the Odyssey, or as simple as listing book recommendations. I feel I've gotten to know my teens even better with our once a week meeting online than in the before COVID times. And it also, when you're working together with teens on a goal, that is an example of, oh wait, that is Teen Squad. There's our Teen Squad logo. That is an example of the YALSA principle of connected learning. So according to YALSA and the Connected Learning Alliance, connected learning connects a person's or teens' interest in and relationship, sorry. Connected learning connects teens' interest and relationship with their peers, as well as opportunities. This is a really great way for more equal access to life's life skills, again, like showing up on time, how to schedule yourself, and how to interact with the public for future librarians and their future jobs. It helps teens prepare for a life after high school, and it helps you out in your job. The library is a perfect place for interests, relationships, and opportunities to all collide in the center and make connected learning happen. These are the 6 principles of connected learning. I'm not going to go over them because they're very boring, but I just thought I'd share a slide of make sure what you do with your teens is interest powered. They get something, a production out of it. They're supported by their peers. You share a purpose with them. It's academically oriented, and you can use the network or community around you. And I'm going to throw it back to Yuli.
And so here's just a few things we listed: how to involve your teens for free. The word of the week, you could just do that without spending money on prizes. You could do it, but the prizes are also very inexpensive. And the coloring pages, I also just want to suggest, if you don't have access to a giant coloring printer or a giant printer, you can just tape poster board or butcher paper onto your tables, and then throwing it back to Saya.
So yeah, number 2, another way is teen video book reviews for your website. For the Salt Lake City Public Library, we do both librarian and teen book reviews. And this is a way for teens to share, to gain skills, talking in front of a virtual audience, and then also being able to communicate back on what they read. I don't know, I think that really helps them validate their own experiences when they get to share what they read. And that's kind of my goal always, is to have teens see themselves reflected in what they read and what they do here at the library. And I'll throw it back to Claire.
Look into your high school, what clubs that they do and what their interests are. You can work with the theater department. The library is a performance space, and teens feel extra special when they can perform outside their high school. Look into robotics clubs. Those are really big right now, for help with coding and teaching. There's a lot of fun stuff where the library is a great space to connect school with community. You can also just show up and give away books. If you yell out free books in a high school and have a card of free books, you would be surprised how many teens are like swarming on you. It's really fun. I've gotten to do this a couple of times at Highland High School. The books come from First Book, which is a website to help get books to teens who may not have access to them, and they are discounted and inexpensive. And you can also give away weeded books. It's a great way to get into the school. It's low cost for the school. It doesn't require a lot of planning. And that way you get to meet a lot of the teens and the teachers. And I think that's been one of the best things to make me rethink how we can do teen librarianship in the pandemic. And thank you. Gonna throw it back to Lisa.
Yes, here I am. Well, this is your golden moment to talk to Saya and Yoli, and we want to know what questions you have for them, or maybe what you're doing at what you're doing in your libraries to serve your teens. So please open it up. And if you don't have questions, we can do a little soft shoe routine. No, I I'll just be quiet. Okay, I would love to hear more ideas from other folks. Yes, and we're just going to sit with this awkward silence for a little bit. Oh, here's a question. Is the Teen Squad similar in function to a tab, a teen advisory board? Great question.
The answer is no. We actually have a teen advisory board that me and Yoli run. It's called League of Extraordinary Teens, because I hate the name tab. It doesn't sound appealing. And is an old soda. So changing it to LET was a good move. That is separate. While there is a lot of overlap for teens, we use a LET or the teen advisory board to pitch ideas to the teens of what we want to do. And that's more a group setting, where Teen Squad is more individual, where we help the teen with what they are interested in. And it's often one-on-one or in small groups. And there's a project that the team comes up with for that.
Thanks, Claire. So
Yeah.
there's a question from Jenny. What is your favorite program that you do with teens?
For me, I would have to say, honestly, Teen Squad. I love doing Teen Squad because I can be more in that mentoring role. And that's kind of what my experience has been, just working in like the public school system before I came to the library. So I love that one-on-one interaction. And I feel like I can be more creative in that sense, helping teens with their projects and stuff. But yeah, I would have to say Teen Squad.
How about Yoli? Do you want to go ahead?
Sorry, I was distracted. I had a question in my message box. And I think can you repeat what was the question?
Oh, of course. Yes. What is your favorite program that you do with teens?
Teen Squad is probably one of the best. I feel like it's so valuable. It's such a great way to help teens get some job skills and people skills and like just work and collaborate with them. I feel like it inspires me a lot. And I don't have to do very much work to recruit teens because we have such an awesome way of promoting this on our website. And we have like paper applications, and then we have an amazing teen services coordinator, Stephanie Costa, who like sends us all of the applications and helps us stay on track. So yeah, I would have to say Teen Squad. And we also have an ACT study session program, which is also really great. And that is a partnership with the University of Utah's Bennion Center. So they do all of the tutoring, and they basically run the program, and we just kind of coordinate it, help get the promotion for it. And then we also started doing, and we also buy books for the students who attend at least 2 sessions. And now we are putting together a care package for them. It's been really awesome that we were able to do that during the pandemic, because I know even though schools don't require the ACT anymore, like most colleges dropped that as a requirement, but it's been awesome just to help students who are trying to get scholarships, and so they're still wanting to take that test. And if they don't have access to tutoring, they're getting it through the library program. And I also had a question in my messages. And the question is, how do you have things set out like the crafts and not have the children take them over? I am in a crazy small library and we don't have a dedicated teen space. And I think I'm really lucky because we have a big space. So children have a lot of things that attract them to their space, which is in the opposite direction. And then teens, we have seen some smaller kids try to go over there. Usually the parents are really good about kind of bringing them back to the kids' space. And occasionally a parent and their child will go over and color. I've even seen adults coloring, and we let that happen. We have a sign that says like, this space is reserved for teens from 2 to 6. And we felt like that was a great compromise because teens are not there usually during most of the day or the early part of the day. And then there's been times where, I'll just go over and say, oh, we have some crayons, or we have some coloring pages for you, for the littles. So that's one way we can handle that. Does anyone else have any other suggestions?
Yeah, I think it's hard when you have not much space to work with. I know that some of our branches here, I'm lucky enough to have a space as well. But I think when you're working within small spaces, I think signage is super great because teens just want to be seen. And so when you just have like, this is the teens corner, or like, this is only the teens art craft. As far as having them not take over, there's been so many times where the kids center here at Glendale just gets like totally trashed. And we kind of had to push through that and kind of really reinforce like, hey, this is your space. Why are you treating it like that? Why are you treating it like trash? And soon that kind of culture kind of picked up where they would respect that space more. And so to get it off the ground, and you kind of have to really be around and kind of be proactive in those spaces. So I guess to answer the question, yeah, signage really helps when you're dealing with small spaces. And I don't know, you as the librarian, you make the space. So whatever you're working with, teens want to come and see you, so it's what you make it. And yeah, when you get stuff like the crafts up off the ground, you kind of have to be a little bit more proactive on that, I think. But that's my advice.
Hey, real quick, Claire, would you like to talk about your favorite programs, or did you already? My brain is mush.
No worries. It's a Friday and it's before 11 a.m. So I have not had enough coffee to focus either. I think probably my favorite program is Tween Book Club, Tween with the W. It's a nice gap, kids tend to, fall off the reading wagon in 4th grade. And I feel like this is a really great, a really great way to keep them reading. It's at capacity of 15. Even on Zoom, we go for an hour and a half. Even if the kids don't interact as much online at Zoom, when they come into the library, they like to talk about how they think about the questions and how it think about the questions related to the books. And the parents say, this is getting my kids to read genres that they would never touch before. I like to theme each thing with a snack. We did Love Sugar Magic by I just blinked on the name, but we did Love Sugar Magic, which is about a little girl named Leo who finds out that her the women in her family have brujas and they own a bakery, and she accidentally shrinks her friend down and tries a love spell. And it was very, very fun. And we talked about local Mexican bakeries. If it was in person, we could have gotten, real pastries, but I did have them try some Mexican snack food. They decided it was too spicy. Others loved it. One boy drank the dust in the bottom of the bag and you could see his face turn red, but you get to expose them to all kinds of new things. And then Tween Book Club leads to Teen Book Club. And so you don't have to try to get teens fresh. You graduate them into Teen Book Club and keep them going.
That's great. Thank you, Claire. I just wanted to get to some other questions. So there, folks are interested in Teen Squad more, and I think it might be relatively unique to our, I mean, I don't know if it's unique to our system, but if you could talk about, do we have regular meetings, or is it more one-on-one collaboration between library and staff members and a team? And then we have a couple more after that.
So that beginning part was, can you repeat that beginning part, Lisa? I'm sorry.
Oh, of course. No, you're great. Let's see. Dun, 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 dun. I'd like to know more about how teens learn about and join Teen Squad. And does Teen Squad have regular meetings, or is it more one-on-one? And maybe you all could just focus on the summer reading, like you all do so many great things for that. And then you've just expanded it to throughout the year, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so just to kind of start from the top, um, it's all for me, I feel like it's more word of mouth. Again, with the Glendale branch, our patrons in our community, a lot of them aren't online. And so it's kind of up to me to go into the schools and present and talk about Teen Squad. We're very fortunate here to be right next door to the elementary school and the middle school. So naturally there are kids and teens coming into our branch every single day. I think because of that, I've been able to utilize the relationships that I've made at the middle school. And so the way I get Teen Squad out there is I go to a specific teacher. Mainly, I try to do more 8th grade. 8th graders they're kind of more there. I just present in his classroom. Also, if I see teens or who are really motivated and they come every day after school to the library, then like I talk to them about it and I'd say, hey, this is a volunteer opportunity and this is great for applying for jobs. And a lot of my teens right now, they just want money. And so that's what they're thinking about, jobs. And I'm like, hey, you can't apply for a job, but you can do this to get a job in the future. And so that really gets them excited. But yeah, I think utilizing my relationships that I've made in where the library is situated in the community has helped me a lot to just get the word out there for not only Teen Squad, but for whatever the library has to offer. And I'll just end it on that and I'll pass it to Claire or Yoli.
A lot of teens, especially in the older category in high school, have required volunteer hours or want to build up volunteer hours for either a class or for applications to college. And advertising it as a way to get volunteer hours that are trackable has been very helpful because the teens really do get something out of it. I mean, they obviously get something out of it, but that's like almost tangible.
All right. Yoli, I didn't want to interrupt. Were you going to say something? Okay. All right. We have another question. And wow, this is a doozy. Would you ever play Cards Against Humanity with teens? A teen brought it to no. And for those of you that don't know about it, you don't need to. No, I'm just kidding. I shouldn't editorialize there. Okay. Would you ever play it? A teen brought it to my group and I had to nicely decline and play a different game. How do you set those boundaries with your teens? Such a great question.
I'll take this one because it's happened. Literally just saying no. I think that's a great boundary. When something is not appropriate or you feel uncomfortable, just no. Sorry, it's not happening. I think setting those boundaries is super healthy. And then also the teens will know like, oh, I won't bring this to the library next time. But also there is like the family edition to Cards Against Humanity. There's like different ones. I try to do apples to apples. That works more with the elementary school students. But there's different games to play. But I would just politely decline and just be like, hey, sorry, this is a fun game and it's awesome, but maybe not here at the library. And then just maybe leave it at that.
Yeah, I guess the bigger part of that question is, teens are experimenting with boundaries and, adult stuff and how far can they go, and, you know, and trying to relate to adult stuff and say that they're grown up, like, their older siblings who are probably playing Cards Against Humanity. My favorite was one teen who loved Rick and Morty and, would ask me about it. And I said, I do watch it, but you're 14 and I'm an adult in a professional setting. So do you think that would be appropriate for me to discuss? Or do you think, no, that wouldn't be very, professional? And he kind of got it. And he'll say that he likes stuff, I like this, I like whatever, South Park, whatever. And I say, I like that too. And it's okay to like, but this isn't the appropriate venue to discuss. And I'm glad you're enjoying it. And I think that really helps, where we're not telling them not to like something that's a little edgy, and that we like it too, but we know how to be adults and, keep our jobs.
All right, we have another great question. How do you teach? And then we just have a couple more minutes before we wrap up. We could go on all day. This is so great. Okay, how do you help teach other staffers how to communicate with teens? My coworkers are all scared of teen groups. Such a good question.
I'll say something. So I'm also intimidated, and especially in a big group of teens, and we have some guidelines that some of our librarians have shared, if somebody's behavior is, it's almost best to be able to address the person whose behavior is a little bit not appropriate for the library, if you can separate them from their group. But it is difficult, and sometimes I have to tell the whole group, hey, please stop squishing cartons of milk outside in the plaza and spraying milk on each other. And it didn't really go well. They, it wasn't the best day. Our custodian was upset, and but it was kind of minimal damage. What else can I say about this? I just do my best. I just try to treat people with respect. How would I want to be treated? I don't want to be yelled at in the library, even if I wasn't acting perfect. So I'll usually just try to say hey, other people might be trying to study, so can you bring your volume down? And I try to call people by their name, and a good way is to introduce myself and ask them what their names are. Saya, I think, has the most challenging crowd, just due to the amount of people that teens and kids that visit.
Yeah, I have a lot to say about this. But thank you, Yoli. I think you did a great job, Yoli. I want to reiterate, just call them out by name. When you know names, they're more likely to listen. And even if they're not acting like they're listening, they can hear you. Because in groups they can remain anonymous, and they like that. The teens over here, they love being anonymous, because then we can't hold them accountable for their behavior. So learning names is so important. And also too, a lot of these teens, when they're in large groups and acting out, they're doing it's part of their development. They're, like Claire was saying, they're pushing boundaries. They're also, exerting their own independence. And also, they want to look cool. They want to look cool in front of their friends. And so getting kicked out of the library is a lot cooler than wanting to put on your mask, or, definitely the milk situation that Yoli described. Yeah, we have that a lot here. But I think learning names, and then also I get kind of uncomfortable when I tell my coworkers what to do. That's just me. And so a lot of times I just try to lead by example. And so I have to be the one to lead that. So just like braving to be like, hey, y'all, and I kind of get in the middle of the big groups and I'm like, hey, I'm so glad you're here, but the volume's really loud. We need to bring it down. And that's where the self-directed activities really come in. And it's really strategic because then we can be like, hey, if you want to color, there's coloring. Or hey, do you want to be loud in the activity room? You can go draw on the chalk wall, you know? And then, you know, if worst comes to worst, just be like, hey, you got to take that outside. And I hate doing that. I hate telling them to go outside because then I don't know, I'm not trying to push them out. I want to have them in there. But a lot of times you have to just say, all right, you got to get out. But yeah, I think learning names and just kind of leading by example, being brave and like taking the lead on that can really show your coworkers like how to interact with these teams or with your teams.
Hey everybody, I want to interrupt because we're out of time. I wish we had more time, but I want to give respect to people taking a quick break before. We're so fortunate to have Yamile Said Mendez, The Tools of Our Craft, Language, Its Evolution, Presence, and Absence, that is happening at 10:30. So go get a drink, go use the restroom. And also there are a couple of questions. I'm so sorry we didn't get to do this. I wonder if Saya and Yoli and Claire, could you all put your emails in the chat real quick? Please email them. I know that they would love to answer your questions and talk to you more about teen librarianship and how to get teens in your library and staying there. And thank you all so much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you. And Saya, Yoli, and Claire, thank you for sharing your expertise and all the wonderful stuff you're doing with teens in our community. And thank you everybody for participating and joining us today. And we'll see you at the next presentation. Take care, everybody.
Thank you, Lisa.
Yep, thank you.